Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about David Harbour as the new Hellboy. So David Harbour is the actor who played the sheriff in Stranger Things last year. So I was a very big fan of Stranger Things. It was really a fantastic television show. I think it's a historically important television show. I know it sounds weird that I'm always saying historically important, but I just kind of want to remind everybody out there real quick. If it seems like I'm using the same terms a lot, it's because I talk about things that I think are historically important. So if something's like mundane or not that exciting, you won't hear me talk about it. So I really feel, Stranger Things was a historically important film. It was a historically important television show. And the reason why is Netflix is doing this special thing where they're creating content that has the target of competing with films, right? And saying, we want to make this so good that it competes with films. And now, just so you guys are aware, Netflix really does compete with films. When they do a new release on a weekend, they drop this stuff like, hey, here's this thing, and people stay in and watch them the whole weekend. Now, I don't do that. I don't binge television. Take my time and watch it leisurely. But many people do. And so Netflix and Hulu, these special event miniseries are really starting to compete with television on the weekend they're released, which is crazy. Like there are movie executives who are starting to pay attention what Netflix and Hulu and some of the other bigger content creators on the web and on television are creating for movies because they're starting to compete, which is pretty incredible, right? So here's my take on David Harbour. So I really think Stranger Things is a really special thing because it really delivered in television content that was absolutely as compelling as any of the films that came out in 2016. It was a real, force to triumph. It was really, really fantastic content. And David Harbour was a huge part of that, right? So David Harbour has been cast as Hellboy. Now, the first thing right out of the gate is, what does this mean for Guillermo del Toro, the director, and what does this mean for Ron Perlman, right? Now, I'm a fan of Hellboy and Hellboy: The Golden Army. I really enjoyed them. They were tremendously good. They were fantastic, okay? But Hellboy made $100 million, and Hellboy: Golden Army made $160 million. These are superhero movies. These should make $250 million minimum, okay? Comic book movies are, you count their profit in chunks of $250 million. And if you don't even have a single chunk, that's a big problem. So one, I thought those movies were fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro. I really like the work he did on The Strain. I also really like Pan's Labyrinth. I have to admit, I did not see his movie with Tom Hiddleston because it had some weird stuff in it, and that's just it. Is Guillermo del Toro, I think he's a brilliant, he's a brilliant artist, but he doesn't have that guy that's pulling him back and saying, that's a bridge too far, buddy. And it's hurting him. Now it's not hurting him if he wants to make art house films, but if he wants to play with the big boys and make blockbusters, then he really needs that guy in his camp or that lady who's in his camp who's going to pull him back and make him be more sensible. So I am sad a little bit that Guillermo del Toro is not going to get to direct this, and also that Ron Perlman is not going to get to play Hellboy again in a third installment. But I definitely understand why the executives made that decision, and I am excited to see the property being relaunched again. And I think putting in David Harbour is a great idea. He's a solid talent. I think he's going to do a good job. I think he looks like Hellboy. His face is, kind of looks like he's been punched too much, so, which is a great thing for the role. I'm trying not to be insulting there. I think he's going to do a really good job. I think he has the sentiment for it. He has the look for it. He has the shape for it. It should work, right? The other thing is, I'm a big Mike Mignola fan. And, indie comics get a bum rap. A lot of them are stellar. And I'm really excited to see what they can do with these. By the way, I'm just going to take a minute here. I really think Image Comics' Tooth and Claw should be made into a film. If you guys aren't reading Tooth and Claw, check it out. It's fantastic. One of the best indie comics in 2016. All right, so so I'm really I really feel like, you know, it's very important that the Hellboy franchise not continue, but does get reboot, because I don't think you could really continue without those people. So I do want to I'll take this opportunity and say thank you, Guillermo del Toro. Thank you, Ron Perlman. Those were really awesome movies. I am very excited to see David Harbour as the new Hellboy. I think he's a great pick. I'm excited they're relaunching the title. I think it's a good thing overall. Take care.